the reason that the last live video stopped the way that it did is I saw them start to walk up and I was like, oh shit, I gotta go do this in person because I had that letter I was gonna give to them. And I thank God that I didn't. By the way, you can see now what happens after you get to deal and push through that PTSD, deal with your fear, and get on with your life. And I'm hoping, I mean, I don't know, I'm not going to have PTSD now, but I will say that that officer said to me, well, after he and I just had a couple hours of conversation, like I just finished up with him and cleaned up my little mess that I made, because I brought my doctor's coat, I brought my my diplomas from Randolph Macon Women's College, from nursing school. I brought my all-around girl award from my private school that I went to. And I did all of that because I was showing him, to start off with, who the fuck he was talking to, so to talk with a little bit of respect. Well, apparently I was a little bit aggressive because I was so wound up, and I looked at him and I said, this is PTSD, and this is police brutality, and I'm terrified of you, even though you're a nice man in a normal outfit, but I know you work for the cops, and they brutalized me. And I don't get it, guys, because here's the thing. Your oath is to serve and protect your community. Listen, serve and protect your community. I would love for somebody to ask me for my address and come and meet me and tell me I'm the monster that those police officers paint me to be. And then you can tell me I'm wrong, but don't sit here and comment and be like, well, I bet she's blah. No, I'm a big old dork. I sit in here and make, you know, all the, what was I saying earlier, soap. I don't actually make soap because I'm not that smart yet. I'm learning how to do it. I make like bath bombs and toilet bombs, and I sit here having to color all day like a fucking toddler because I have panic attacks from just people knocking on my door because I don't know who's going to be on the other side. And when I open that bitch, if a motherfucking police officer decides that he's going to get handsy, he's going to get handsy. And this is why I'm doing this, because I know that I was born into a race that gets privilege, a gender that gets privilege, and even though I look like an entitled, rich, whatever, well, actually, I don't know that I look like that, but apparently I came across that way to a bunch of individuals because they didn't know that I grew up on the other side of the mountain from Loretta Lynn and the coal miner's daughter bullshit. And if you've seen that movie, I'm sorry, it's not bullshit. That is literally how I grew up. I have had to get a tetanus shot every year because I step on a nail, because I'd be out in the chicken coop and I wouldn't have my shoes because it wasn't time to go buy shoes yet. And mama wasn't going to wait, and our feet are going to grow 2 sizes that summer. So we would walk around bare feet, or if we didn't have, I remember we had moccasins. We had moccasins that we would make, and my mom would sit there and mend the shoes because I grew up poor. I grew up humble. I grew up on a small farm on a mountain in the middle of fucking nowhere near West Virginia, where everybody knows, you know, the people in the hills of the West Virginia. They don't know about the Appalachian people like me who have a different reputation, because we are the immigrants who came to America from Sweden, from the I'm specifically Swedish. And then I come down here to the city and all these Viking whatever that have bastardized my heritage. I'll show you my Ancestry.com little genetic thing that my sister got done. But it doesn't matter because I grew up in those traditions. I grew up wearing wooden clogs and having Christmas brunch. Ruth was always so big on making sure she made the little headdress with the candles. And I was like, you're going to set your hair on fire. And she's like, shut up, I'm walking, shut up. And so I grew up in a traditional family that did that kind of celebration of our heritage because my motherfucking mother was proud of it. And so was my fucking family. All of my family was. And my grandmother, who didn't raise me, but like, since there were so many kids, like my grandmother would be like, hey, you know, send one of them every week and I'll have a kid and you guys have one less kid, even though you still have 6. Or, well, there were 6 of a total that grew up together. So, you know, they would do that. And every other week I would take a turn, even though it wasn't technically my turn, we were going to rotate, but it was just Ryan, Robin, Ruth, Robin, Rebecca, Robin. Because Robin wanted to be with Grandma Alice. And I fucking adored that woman so much. And she was a Depression era. Like, you know, she suffered through the Depression and she struggled. She went hungry. She grew up on a farm where if the chicken didn't lay an egg, you didn't get a fucking egg for breakfast. And that's the reality, guys. That's the thing that, like, I hate it when somebody wants to be like, oh, that guy thinks he can preach. He can, because that heritage is in him and he feels it, just like I'm a fucking Viking. And that's why I love all these little Viking, like, oh yeah, you celebrate Viking mythology. But I am a motherfucking Viking. Don't sit here and tell brother, because I can still respect a black man because I don't care about the color of his skin. And I don't like all this racism bullshit, because I had a guy sit there and show me his tattoo of a swastika, and I said, that, sir, I want you to explain. And then he showed me that he knew the values behind that symbol, and I said, okay, respect. But then he said, but I don't think that, you know, and I was like, I don't care what you think, because what you think and what I feel, if they're different, I know my truth. And my truth is that if a black man and a white woman want to be together, that is their fucking business. And you don't need to burn crosses. And you don't need to be a fucking racist ass motherfucker. And I keep getting back on that race shit because it is alive and well in Lynchburg, Virginia, motherfuckers. It is. And that's the truth that I've got to face just in having friends that come over here who are mixed, by the way, and light skin, and you could tell that they ain't just black, but the fucking fact, and I had a man last night who's half Japanese and half black. And he's gorgeous and he's brilliant and he's got, like, oh my God, and I have family who's half Japanese because of marriage, not adoption and all that, and so I feel like this, like, every time my cousin gets on all her Japanese heritage stuff, and you know, being a Japanese American who, by the way, were put in concentration camps just like the fucking Holocaust, but we left that part out of the history books of America. We just don't talk about that shit, because when Pearl Harbor happened, suddenly Japanese people were the devil. No. No. Just because you come from that, and by the way, they're in America and they put them in concentration camps. Fuck y'all motherfuckers for not paying attention in school, because I hated history class, but I know that I didn't learn that shit. So when my cousin, who is half Japanese, and her mother, who, you know, like, by the way, I love Japanese food. I love it so much. I want to go to Japan, but I can't because I'm a felon. And so, by the way, I'm getting that shit expunged because the dude out there who I just ranted and raved to, so I didn't have to show him that nasty ass letter, and told him my whole motherfucking story. He said, first of all, you need to go talk to the internal investigations for that police department, because, yes, I agree, that sounds like police brutality. Well, thank you, sir. So even though I sat here screaming at you, not screaming, but being real passionate and being real fucking respectful, and then he said something about, well, they probably put you in solitary and kept you completely confined, which, by the way, go ask any psychiatrist. Putting a human in a box, we at least put dogs in a motherfucking cage where they can breathe. Okay, I wasn't given a shower for 4 of those days, or offered the hour and 15 minutes that I was entitled to, which, by the way, can I please tell you why I was put in Max Seg in a brand new, beautiful jail that was clean, and I had no complaints about all that. Do you see that piercing right there? None of us could get it to twist. And so I had to spend 11 days. It was 11 days total. I spent 11 days in a box that is 5 feet by 8 feet. I remember, because doing yoga, my butt hit the wall, because I still had to live my life. And I remember when the nurse, who ironically is my ex-boyfriend's stepsister, she was like, what do you do to de-stress? I said, I masturbate, I do yoga, and I read these books that, you know, even though there's no light in here to read, and you guys wouldn't let me get my glasses from home, even though my dad offered to just drop them by, I can't really read the book, but, you know, they're really interesting, and they're, you know, whatever, but I'm not living my life. I am not serving my community. Like, if we're going to do jail, guys, instead of putting them in shackles and all that shit, because you know what? A motherfucker's not going to be dumb enough to run. I mean, I guess some of them are, but, like, go on and don't put them out on road work. Put them somewhere else. But give them a chance to pay back to the community. Don't put them in a fucking onesie like a toddler and let them nap all day. Motherfucker, every motherfucker in there would love to go do work release. I don't know of one of them who wouldn't, except for some of these lazy new ones, because I'm sorry, but like, and every generation has this. It's like our little brothers and sisters were like, oh my God, there's our nieces and nephews. I'm like looking at these, but even the 19-year-olds that come over here and hang out with me, the reason I've got a group of 21-year-old felon men who show up here, one of them, his mama shows up one night and she goes, what is going on in this house? And I said, I don't know what the fuck you're implying. And she goes, I don't know, but you've got a bunch of boys upstairs that all went to high school with my son, and I think of you as a motherfucking peer, so I don't really understand. It's kind of like you're running a brothel, but you got my boys up in here getting hoed out. And I was like, well, I'm glad you said that, because I actually kind of joke in my head that that's what I'm doing, but it's not. Because what your son is doing is bringing men here who don't have homes, who don't have a motherfucking mother, who's a goddamn righteous ass bitch, and I fucking love that bitch. And she shows up to stick up for them because she doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know what I'm doing. But you know what? She's a good mom. Some of these boys don't have good moms, or they've got moms. Oh my God, I keep thinking of this one because I saw him in jail when I had to go in just to get booked for something. They actually didn't even make me stay for my sentence because one of the COs was like, Robin, haven't you been here enough? And I'm like, I know, they just love to arrest me these days. I said, no, but this one was something I did do. I violated a protective order against my husband to tell him I loved him. But he had a no contact order, so apparently that was threatening enough. Send your ass to jail, bitch. So I went to jail. I sat there in the little thing. They booked me in. They made me spend the night. They forgot to give me one of my meals because I was in the shower. And when I asked for it, they're like, oh, we already put the trays upstairs. I was like, yeah, and I missed breakfast because I got here at 9, and I even said to y'all, are you going to give me breakfast? And they were like, yeah, maybe they'll give you they'll like keep a little bag. No, they don't do that shit. So I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't eat lunch because I was taking a shower. And then I get my dinner, and the bitch in the cell with me steals my second sandwich because she doesn't know what jail is like. So you eat the one sandwich, and you put the other one under your pillow, you take a nap, and then when you wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep because all the lights are on, you eat the other sandwich, your tummy gets full, and you get to go back to sleep. And that's all you do in jail. There are these women who do this. Because that's about as big as the cell. That was what I did. Mine, the cell that I was in for the very first time I was in jail was long and skinny. So I did this. And I had 1, 2, 3. This is, no, I actually, because I remember I had to like do a half pace. And they left me in there for 2 weeks. And I got to come out for an hour and 15 minutes every day. We are putting boys at 19 years old who are sitting here crying and holding me and saying, thank you for letting me sleep in a safe place tonight, because I grew up in a trailer and I keep going to these trailer parks thinking I'm going to find somebody like you who will give me a warm hug and give me a place to sleep. But then I go in there, they want drugs. Some of these women are raping young men. I know a 37-year-old who slept with a young man who is younger than her oldest daughter. And she laughs about it like it's a joke. That's despicable. Those people, fuck you in the apocalypse. Y'all are going to hell, and I don't give a flying fuck. But let me tell you something. In my new world order, we ain't doing this shit anymore. We are not going to send 19-year-old young boys who literally get put in these situations, have no other fucking choice but to sell drugs because they don't know how else to live. They don't know that there's a good world out there, that there's possibility that you could go to Vegas and there's lights and there's a warm bed. They don't know how to fill their bellies because they know that if you fill it too full, then the next meal you're going to want to fill it full again. And I grew up like that, and that's why I get passionate about this shit. And all these motherfuckers who are like, preach, Robin, I can't relate to them because I didn't grow up comfortable. I grew up uncomfortable. But now, when I see some of these injustices that they have to go through, even though they got an entitled life and they think I'm an entitled bitch, so they come up in here and they steal my shit. My car still ain't in my driveway. I still should have put that fucking note out there and said, come talk to me when my motherfucking car's in my driveway. Because here's the thing, is that because that motherfucker put his penis in me, it's a civil suit, and I have to drive around town to find my car. What am I paying you for, bitch? Because I paid my taxes on my $80,000 a year income. And I can't work now because your punk asses decided you didn't like me. So you know what? That's why you're working short-staffed. 30 police officer short staffing at Lynchburg, Virginia Police Department. Why the fuck you think, assholes? Because you're arresting people like me who should be paying your shit. But you know what? Dumbasses, you shot yourself in the motherfucking dick. And you're gonna suck my cunt if you think that you can come up in my house and abuse me again. So come on, bitches, try it. Because I threatened Satan one day and I got put in my goddamn place. But you know who I am gonna threaten? The motherfuckers who think that they're gonna come up in here and show this little bitch who the fuck she is. Bring it. Bring it, Mark. Bring that body cam next time.